Welcome to the final phase of the Hunter exam. I'm your Phase 3 proctor, Jake, and I am a ruin hunter. Meaning I look for ruins of ancient civilizations and maintain them. Why don't you tell me who you are, what you do, and what kind of hunter you want to be?
Hi, I'm Mike. I have a talent for playing music, and I found a guitar that allows me to hypnotize people. So that's led me to want to become a lost music hunter and find lost sheet music.
I'm Ethan, and I want to be a tyrant hunter, and I land wicked royals with my executioner's axe.
I'm Scarlett. I want to be a gourmet hunter and taste the best foods from across the world and master every knife skill known to man.
Well, my name's Dan, and I'm a clown. And I want to hunt clowns. Oh, and I have a gun.
All right, rad. Now on to the exam. How do you pronounce the name of this hit Japanese series based on the world that we live in?
Hunter X Hunter?
Nope.
Ooh, Hunter Cross Hunter.
Nope.
Damn it, Sony, I trusted you.
Hunter, Hunter?
That's the one.
That's correct. You two have passed the hunter exam. Here are your licenses. Now go be the best hunters you can be.
This license will get me into the palace without any issue.
Woohoo! Time to hunt some clowns.
Welcome to Gate Crashers, a podcast dedicated to kicking open the door to your next favorite thing. Our mission, our creed, our code is this: to make all nerdy things more approachable and accessible to everyone. We want you to find a universe that you'll fall in love with. I'm Scarlett, and I use she, her pronouns.
And I'm Jake, and I use he, him pronouns. On today's episode, we are talking about the 2011 anime version of Hunter x Hunter. So, for our little back of the blocks? Nope, that's not a word. It's box. Back of the box blurb. I can speak. So, Gon Freaks has one goal in life: to become a hunter so he can find his father Jing, who abandoned him to be a hunter. Upon leaving his home on Whale Island, Gon makes friends with Kurapika, Leorio, and Killua as they go through the gauntlet that is the Hunter exam, a test that could very well be their last. So, why did I make you watch the 2011 version, not make you read the manga or the 1999 version? So, the 2011 one is probably the most accessible, one of the more well-known versions of it other than the manga, and it's the most accessible version currently because it contains the majority of the story, and it stops at a very satisfying point, whereas the 1999 anime is a bit more difficult to find, and the main anime ends like a quarter of the way through the story, and you have to pick it up with the follow-up OVAs, and then that only ends at the Greed Island arc without the Chimera Ant arc or the Election arc. And those finish out the core story for Gon. So, but it's also important that I point out that the manga is not finished, and if you start reading it, it's prone to hiatuses for illnesses. And illnesses of who? So, the series was created by Togashi Yoshihero in 1999. He also created Yu Yu Hakusho. So, and Togashi being his family name that comes first in Japan, he is married to Sailor Moon creator. I practiced I did not practice the family name enough. Okay. Nope.
Takeuchi Naoka.
Yeah, Takeuchi. Why? I said it perfectly earlier. I don't know what's wrong with me tonight. It's been a long day of trying to get this episode out, recorded. Yeah. Takeuchi Naoka. So this series, Hunter x Hunter, is on the top 100 grossing media franchises at $4.23 billion US, right below Fortnite.
That's a lot of money.
It is a lot of money. And that's the Fortnite, people. Fortnite with the pickaxes and the umbrellas that you jump down on, Mary Poppins style.
Yeah, Fortnite, not fork knife.
No, that's what you eat dinner with.
I didn't know that. I didn't know that he was married to the Sailor Moon creator. That's pretty cool because Sailor Moon is more my area. I like that. So a little brief background. We've been doing some backgrounds because it seems to be a lot of people enjoy like the history of certain things. So we decided to kind of keep that trend going, and we're going to talk about the history of anime in general. So we start seeing the production of anime and Japanese animation in 1917, and this is still the time of silent films. However, the style that they did make animation, they're a lot costlier than what the Western films were doing. And a lot of the Japanese films and animation that were coming out were often overshadowed by the success of Disney. Eventually, a lot of these animation production companies, they're going to start finding their niche with making anime production for public relations. Soon there's going to be a thing where they're going to have to start over. A lot of their stuff and their headquarters are going to be damaged due to the Great Kanto earthquake that happened. And so they're going to have to rebuild. They're also going to continue to struggle to keep up with new innovations that are happening. So we start to see the rise of the talkies, talking pictures in 1929. We also start to see the rise of films in color by 1932. So with all of these new innovations that are happening in film, it's very hard for a lot of these Japanese production companies to keep up, especially with the way that Western film was going. And things are going to continue to evolve. And they're going to continue to, again, find their niche and what they can do. But then we have the outbreak of World War II in 1939. And that's only going to kind of push them down a little bit more because now they're having to produce animation and productions for the war effort. And this was a way to boost Japanese morale. And they did this a lot through propaganda films.
Momotaro. Have you seen that video?
No.
Oh, I have.
What is it? Give our listeners some context.
So Momotaro is like a folk character in Japan. He's the Peach Boy, and during the Second World War, they used him for propaganda. And I've seen one of those films, and it's like just like battleships. He's got some friends that are like, I think, monkeys, dogs, and I want to say a crane. Oh, it's been a while since I've seen it.
So a lot of their animation productions are going to be geared towards making those propaganda films. And the reason was they need to boost Japanese morale throughout the war. Eventually, the war comes to an end in 1945, in September of 1945. And we all know what happened. And so Japan has to recover from that. And Japan's going to recover from the war. And then Hiroshi Okawa is the president of the Toei film company. And he's actually going to see Disney's Snow White film. And he was so inspired by the vibrancy of the film, the colors of the film, that he created a new studio. And it was Toei Doga, or Toei Animation.
Toei?
Yeah, and it was nicknamed, quote unquote, the Disney of the East. And this was also where Hayao Miyazaki got his first job.
Man, Toei is still around. I mean, they're the ones who put out all of the ones who give us all the Power Rangers footage.
Yeah.
Good old Toei.
I thought that was great because I love Miyazaki, and I thought that was really cool. That's where he got his start. January 1st.
Yeah, that reminds me of my neighbor.
Oh, what about your neighbor?
It just reminds me of my neighbor.
Oh. You got me there.
Guillermo del Totoro.
Guillermo del Totoro. I hope somebody's made a shirt. Somebody needs to make a shirt of that. If no one has, if any of our listeners are artists, please make a shirt or an image that can go on a shirt of Guillermo del Toro in the cover art of that movie, My Neighbor Totoro.
That probably exists. That has to exist. He's told a child to call him Totoro because he couldn't say his whole name.
If it's not out there, I need it to be out there. So I'm putting this out into the universe so it can manifest itself. Moving on January 1st, 1963, Fuji Television broadcast their first 30-minute anime show, Tetsuyuan Atomo, better known as Astro Boy. And it became a surprise hit, and we kind of see this animation boom, which we see a lot of fierce competition because everybody's like, oh, wow, this is selling. Let's start mass producing and creating all these different shows because we see that there's a reaction to it. And then we have the problem of oversaturation. There were a lot of challenges due to this, and the anime companies and production are going to continue to fluctuate to find its fan base. Many Western cultures would see some of these and they either thought it was too sexualized, they either described it as too childish, and a lot of people early on in Western culture didn't really react well to it. They didn't really enjoy it. But we start to see the rise of shows like Gundam, Sailor Moon, Dragon Ball, Pokemon, all of these. And anime has continued to grow and to find its fan base. And we kind of see its fan base ranging over all continents, all age ranges, all demographics. So throughout this kind of like history, there has been a fluctuation. Anime has had its fluctuation of trying to find its ground. But I believe that...
Do you remember the days when they had the Trigun coat in Hot Topic?
Yes, the early days, yes.
Ah, the Trigun coat.
They have a backpack that I really want, and it's Inuyasha. That was the first anime I ever watched. And I watched that.
I mean, that's got its new show that just came out.
I know, and I'm wanting to rewatch the show so I can watch the new series. I'm so excited about that. But I used to this is how Scarlett watched anime, like I first got into it in like middle school. I started reading manga first because I saw it at the bookstore. And there was this book series. Oh my gosh, the Kane Saga. Have you ever heard of that?
It rings a bell.
It was about it was set in like 18th century England, and it was about this guy who was an aristocrat and his butler, and it was really, really good, and the artwork was beautiful. But I read all of that, and then I got into anime, and I remember going to the computer room at our old house, and I would like get on the computer and just go to Google and be like, Inuyasha Season 1, Episode 3, English dub, and I would just search, and I would just find the first, like, one of those many cartoon anime streaming, like, sites where you just, like, watch it in parts. And I would that's how I watched that show. And I would have a note next to me, and I would, like, take a note of, like, okay, I'm stopping on this episode. Like, that's how I watched that series. That's how I watched Inuyasha. That's how I watched Death Note. This was before.
Oh, I watched all of those on Toonami when they were on the air.
Well, I watched Inuyasha. I remember I started watching it online, and then I would get up really early in the morning because it came on at like 5 o'clock in the morning.
Oh, yeah, it was real early in the
on
morning.
Adult Swim, and I would watch it, the reruns before I went to school. So that was my intro into anime. Jake, what was your intro into anime or manga?
I don't know if I was even in school yet, but always Dragon Ball Z. And then I watched all of Toonami every day and just watching more Dragon Ball Z. And then got into Naruto. I bought as soon as Naruto started, I started actually buying the Naruto mangas. And I don't know, I watched everything that was on Toonami and Adult Swim. I probably shouldn't have been staying up that late, but no one stopped me.
I would love to buy more manga.
Yu Yu Hakusho in like the second grade, which I probably shouldn't have been doing. But hell, I read Kingdom Come in the fourth or fifth grade, because that's when I had the money for it.
But yeah, I mean, I think anime is one of those genres and manga too that you can find almost anything. Like you can find something. It's something for everybody, right? I feel like you can, whatever your interests are, there's like an anime or manga out there for you. I feel like
that's true.
Very versatile. It's very, like, it's got something for everybody. So, Jake, who do you think would like this franchise, gearing back to Hunter x Hunter?
It's just Hunter x Hunter. If you really like adventure series, you'll love this. But it also avoids putting itself squarely in that box by throwing in various types of settings and themes. Like, there's a video game storyline, there's an upscale modern fighting arena, there's highly developed regions and underdeveloped ones, and there's also like kid appropriate body horror insects. There's just something for everyone in this series, which it does a lot better than Yu Yu Hakusho, which I also love, that went from a comedy supernatural detective series to a martial arts series. But yeah, and every character brings something different to the story, so there's just more and more for everybody to listen to, enjoy.
Where can you find it? You can find it on Hulu, Netflix, probably Crunchyroll. They probably have it. That's at least for the 2011 anime. The manga, you can go to your local bookstore, comic book shop, and for the 1999 anime and the OVAs, it's probably somewhere over the rainbow, way up high, as Jake wrote. But in all honesty, Google's your friend, and you can, when in doubt, Google. That's what I say.
Yeah, you'll find it if you click enough.
Yeah.
Granted, I would just say, go through the proper channels. So, the themes of this are friendship, coming of age, revenge. I also put adventure, which is not really a theme, but whatever. Perseverance and creativity. And on to the discussion. So we're going to go through your notes and then mine, because you didn't really know much about this going in, right?
No, this was the first time I had watched this.
Yeah. And I had watched the 99 without the OVAs. I've read a little bit of the manga, and I've watched all of this version several times.
So, for clarity, because some people out there might not know what OVAs are, can you explain what OVAs are?
Is it original video animation? Oh, hold on. OVA definition. Let's see what it tells me. Yeah, original video animation. I was right. Unless I wasn't, and I'm just saying that I'm right now. But you'll never know unless you're rewinding.
All right, so I kind of broke it down. We watched the first 3 episodes. And it's, I guess, it's a good entrance, I guess, into the story.
Yeah, it introduces you to 4 main characters.
So my thoughts, kind of as I was watching, the first episode is basically you're introduced to these main, I think it's at least 3 of the main characters.
You get Gon, Leorio, Kurapika, and then Killua comes into the 3rd episode.
Yeah, so you're introduced to this kid named Gon. And he is
But this
wanting...
is a kid, not the dinosaur.
Yes. Not for fans of Digimon out there.
No, that's a different thing. No. Gon is a little dinosaur. He was also a guest character in Tekken 3? He was a little tiny dinosaur with boxing gloves.
I think I've seen an image of that. I always thought it was a Digimon character.
Ask Dan, he'll tell you. He'll know what I'm talking about.
No, I know what he looks like. I thought he was a Digimon character.
No, you're thinking of Agumon.
Yeah, I never watched Digimon. I never cared for it. So that's probably why I don't know who it is. I just know.
Digimon's great. Hey, I'm a bunny rabbit. Oh, now I have Gatling guns.
So the first episode, you're introduced to Gon. And he is wanting to be a hunter. And from what I gather, hunters are people that go out and hunt these monsters or creatures that are, I guess, causing a ruckus.
You hunt anything. Like, Gon's dad hunts for, like, ancient civilizations and, like, what's the term? Revitalizes, like, he'll, like, take care of, like, a shrine or whatever he finds. He's like an archaeologist. But, like, there's bounty hunters, all that stuff. So many different types of bounty hunters. Not hunters, just hunters. Not bounty hunters. That's whatever. I'm talking.
So Gon wants to be a hunter like his dad. And like we mentioned in the intro earlier on, his dad kind of left him. His dad abandoned him. And I think he lives with his aunt and grandmother.
So it is. So no, Aunt Mito is actually his dad's cousin, and that's it. That's Gon's great grandmother. So that's Jing's grandmother. It's all very confusing. Dad. Yes.
Yeah, I feel like they could have cleared a little bit of that up within the first episode, I guess. Like me being like new to this, that's what I thought. So.
Oh, they're not in it too much.
So his dad abandoned him. His dad's a hunter, and Gon wants to be a hunter because he wants to understand why his dad left. I think he says that. He's like, yeah, he must have left me. It must have been a really good job for him to have abandoned his kid. And I was like, wow, that's really sad and depressing.
Oh, it gets worse.
Oh.
Way worse on that front.
First off, just that whole thing, I was like, okay, I don't like his dad. His dad's a little not a nice person. So he wants to be a hunter. He wants to hunt, kind of follow in his dad's footsteps. And he wants to understand why. And then he leaves his island to go to the hunter exam to take this exam that's going to get him through and make him a hunter, I'm guessing. And enter, like, he gets on the ship and he has to sail, and there's all these other people that are trying to go to the same place, and they're all trying to be hunters too. And then this is what I wrote. I said, enter some Lupin the Third dude and a blonde mysterious kid.
Oh, Lupin the Third.
He looked like him, and I was like, who is this guy? That's Leorio and the Kurapika. And just right off the bat, you've got this one kid who's headstrong, and he's like, I want to go on an adventure, and I want to do this. Then you've got this other guy who's like clearly comic relief, and then the mysterious kid who's like, I don't want to talk about my past. So kind of like what I imagine is like the general like trio in any like hero's journey story.
Which is kind of funny because there's a small arc after the exam where they go to Killua's house. But then for a little while, you don't see Leorio or Kurapika. And it's just Gon and Killua for a long time. And then it happens again.
What, they just go off doing their own thing?
Yeah, the series pretty much becomes all about Gon and Killua. And now it's actually following Kurapika, if I'm right.
Well, anyways, they're on this boat. And basically a storm happens, and they kind of start revealing who they are, what they want to do. They have to save a crewmate. Spoiler alert, the captain of the ship is like in on the like exam, and he's like, haha, you helped save this crewmate, so now you've passed, you're worthy, and not the other people, like all the other tough guys on the ship. You guys are getting passed through to the exam. And that was basically the end of episode 1. They're the only 3 to pass this pretest, quote unquote.
Yeah, Gon jumps right off that boat.
Yeah, he takes a swan dive off of the ship to save this crewmate. And Leorio and Kurapika grab him, and they're like, "You're an idiot. You just jumped off. What would you have done if we weren't here?" And he's like, I don't know.
In their defense, Gon is an idiot. Very big idiot.
I would have to agree, but that's only because I've only seen the first 3 episodes, and he does carry around his weapon is a fishing rod.
Oh no, his fighting style is really creative for a long time. Eventually, when like special, like in this series it's called Nen, but you know it as like Ki or Chakra or whatever. In other series, Gon's his fighting style is based around rock paper scissors. After that, but he uses the fishing rod in super cool ways.
It's just not one of the, like, it's very different, because when I think of like a cool anime or like even like a cool story or something, and the main character, that's not the first weapon my mind goes to. You know, it's like, we have like a sword, a giant like katana, we have a keyblade, we have a gun sword, like fishing rod.
See, I'm trying not to spoil any more than I already have, but there's some unique weapons. It's really creative in how they use their abilities.
Anything that you want to add about episode 1 before we move to episode 2?
So mine pretty much don't really have, my notes don't have much of like grounding in it's really just like what I've taken out of it from the entire series, because I did just rewatch it a couple weeks ago. So yeah, no, I can interject. So you get the series does a really good job of giving you the characters' personalities and talents and motivations really early in the show, so it can focus on developing them and the actual storyline, which is really great. And outside of them saving the guy who fell off the boat, none of them, especially not Gon, are seen as like a heroic figure throughout the entire story. Yeah, but yeah, so you already mentioned, so Gon's whole motivation is to understand and find his father. Like, he wants to understand why his father would find being a hunter so enjoyable that he would abandon his child without any real indication of where he was going, what happened to his mother, which that comes up later, but that's like a whole, I think that's in the 2nd season.
It's a whole arc within itself.
Yeah, there's a lot.
I do agree. I guess from that first episode, it kind of sets up, at least for those 3 characters, who they are and what's their motivation. Like, one of them is Gon's is to find his dad and understand why. The other is to basically he wants revenge and wants to protect people. And then the other one just wants to get rich.
I don't think I thought they were going to mention why he wants to get money. It might be later on, but he wants to be a doctor because his friend died.
Well, spoiler alert. I figured he was training to be a doctor because of episode 2. But that's good to know. But yeah, he wants to get money. Moving on to episode 2, they find themselves on this new land, and they're trying to get to the exam. And they run into this. I don't know. Did I miss? Did we? The guy, the guy that was in the street. There was this guy in the street, like in an alleyway, and he
was following them.
Yeah. Is he ever mentioned again? Because it seemed like he was just like.
No, he doesn't make it. He doesn't make it to the exam.
Yeah,
that's the whole point. Sending him behind her, not through the path that they go through.
Right. I didn't understand, like, you know, if he was just in that for that sole purpose, like as a throwaway character, or if he was there for like we were gonna see him later on. Because like,
well, I think they were using it to show, oh, this isn't what you think it is. It's a lot of misdirection.
Yeah. Well, they come across an old lady, and she's got a test for them.
Well, there's also a very important thing. There's all of those, you know, musical instruments, and I guess the musicians to play them. And then there's the person holding a crow. That's the best musical instrument of all. A crow or a raven. I couldn't really tell. It's a big bird.
Yeah.
Probably a raven.
I just thought they were her posse. They just follow her around.
She has a bird. The one right next to her has a bird and goes, caw!
They see this old lady. She asks them questions. The one guy we were talking about earlier basically is misdirected. And they eventually pick the right answer, which is actually not an answer at all.
Nothing. But then Gon's still thinking about it. It's like, I mean, this could really happen. I should probably think this through a little more.
Which I think outlines his... Yeah,
you haven't even gotten to the point where steam starts coming out of his ears because he short circuits himself.
I would just say, like, that showed me, I think, maybe his...
mindset.
His determination, but also a little bit of naivety.
Well, I mean, I think that's kind of a practical thing to try to think over even more. Like, he's naive to think that it's the actual question, but, like, it's practical to keep on thinking it over.
Yeah.
To some degree.
So, they kind of go through... They answer the question, they get through, and then they come across a group that are basically there to test them again to see if they really are worthy. And they were what, monsters or shapeshifters?
They were magical beasts.
Okay. And so there's like 4 of them that kind of test them in their own different way. And each of like their unique skills are brought to light. Like Gon could tell the 2 of them apart and actually knew differences, even though these 2 creatures looked exactly alike and nobody else could tell them apart. And then Leorio was dressing wounds and was able to do it in a quick manner and to take care of this guy. And then Kurapika, what'd he do?
So he was able to tell that the man that Leorio was fixing up and the woman who Kurapika was guarding were playing as a married couple. But Kurapika noticed that she had tattoos that were for a vow of chastity.
Yeah, so each of their like unique skills is brought to light, and I think that's another peek into these characters and who they were. And so they get, basically guided to the exam itself. And then that's where episode 3 comes into play.
Whoa. They're not just guided. Not just guided. These things have like bat wings and they all get carried away to the exam site.
Yeah, they get Lord of the Rings, basically.
Yeah.
So then they get to episode 3 and basically they made it to the exam site. And they're talking to this guy who how many times has he been trying
30
to...
something.
Yeah, he's
35.
been trying to pass this exam for years. And he's basically telling them all of like who all these other people are. And my notes are as follows. Magic Man, Pinhead, white-haired kid who knows poisons, ninja. Those are the descriptors for some of these characters.
And the white-haired kid who knows poisons is Killua, and he's from a family of assassins. He's a main character throughout the entire series. And so, the Magic Man to some degree. But he's also
Magic Man
a
guy that I saw.
Murder pervert. That's the best way to describe Hisoka.
Magic Man guy that I saw, I was like, who is this clown JoJo's Bizarre Circus looking dude?
JoJo's Bizarre Circus?
That's all I could think of. Was like with the Magic Man. That's all I saw. That's all I saw was he's a clown. He looks like he's trying to be a little thought. And I was like, okay.
Yeah, that describes him.
I was like, Magic Man.
He is an off-putting magician clown man.
Yeah, I don't like him. I also didn't like Pinhead
he comes
guy.
back. He comes back.
Pinhead guy was kind of creepy.
Oh yeah, that also gets a lot weirder.
And then ninja guy who's like, I'm a ninja.
Oh, Hanzo.
But yeah, you're introduced to basically who these characters are, who these contenders are, who are going to be trying to pass this hunter exam. So you get a good look at, like, I'm assuming who some reoccurring characters are going to be on the show. And then you see the beginning of the first phase, which is literally to follow this guy with a curly handlebar mustache to the next phase. And yeah, that is the end of the third episode. It kind of really leaves off with a cliffhanger there.
Yeah, they run just for a few episodes.
So yeah, those are like, I would say they're kind of brief summaries of each episode. So Jake,
just scroll down to the bottom of the thing. I left something there.
Yeah, well, I was yeah.
Yep, that's him. That's Hisoka.
Yeah. Well, I just assumed by his looks.
Big murder pervert. That's what he is.
So
he gets turned on by wanting to fight people.
So, what were your overall thoughts? Because again, you've seen it, and you
several
know
times.
So kind of elaborate on your thoughts.
So when they're going down the back room restaurant elevator, I thought it was a great thing that Leorio and Kurapika argue what it means to be a hunter, because they do it's a great thing because they outline the benefits of the job and the various things that a hunter has as responsibilities. But it does it in an organic way of these two having just sheer animosity towards each other when they first meet, and knowing what a hunter is, but not understanding what it entails. And it shows us, the reader, because we don't know what that entails. And I also outlined all of their motivations. So Gon's motivation to understand and find his father for being abandoned, which I already mentioned. Leorio's motivation is to get money. To get money is fueled by wanting to be an extremely giving doctor because he grew up poor and his friend could not afford a simple procedure that would have saved his life. And Leorio doesn't want that to happen to anybody else. And Kurapika's desire for revenge against a group of thieves who stole the eyes of his clan, because his eyes and the eyes of his family would turn your name, Scarlett. They would just turn Scarlet when they get angry or feel intense emotions. You know, the Sharingan. But yeah, no, that the group of thieves is known as the Phantom Troop.
Yeah, just normal things. That's what happens.
Yeah, normal things.
When I get angry, my eyes turn scarlet red.
I mean, Dan probably does something to deserve that. I should know. So, and then there's Keela, whose desire to be a hunter is out of sheer boredom and thought that the exam would be fun.
Oh, he's one of those characters.
You also get an idea of when he just drinks the poison and he's like, yeah, that was a good poison. And he's like, yes, it is what it is. You got to be like, what is this kid going through? His neon skateboard.
Yeah, he's okay. So he's that character. And then you said Hisoka is just wild.
As I outlined through the image that I sent.
Yes. Hisoka is the Magic Man clown guy.
Hisoka Maru. You fucking weirdo.
What was it? Okay, so the quiz. Anything else? Like, oh, you talked about the crow. Best instruments. Yeah. You said the outlining being a hunter, though. You talked about that. Kind of how.
Yeah. Oh, I read these out of order.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it was interesting to see the overview of kind of like their desire and their motivation. It was good to see that, I think, at least somewhat within the first 3 episodes. But in general, what would you say to people who might want to, watch this or get into this, I guess?
So it kind of goes back to my reasons why I chose this one. You're going to get a complete story through this version of the anime, this version of the series, which is the 2011 anime. Because if you go to the manga, you're going to be dealing with hiatuses and never really, because then you're going to lose track of what you're doing. But this is something that's just great. And as I mentioned, it's a very big franchise. So you're going to be able to find people to talk to about it. And it's just fun. It's just really fun. Like, this is something I turn on when I'm like in bed sick and I can't do anything.
What would you say, I guess, your rating of it would be?
My rating?
Yeah,
oh, we're doing that now?
Well,
I was
just wondering because I have a different take on it than you do.
Oh, no, tell me your take.
I didn't really care for it. I mean, it's just not my anime, if that makes sense. And I think that's okay. It's okay for other people to fine. Like, it's just...
not everybody can be into a series that has a murder pervert clown magicians.
Yeah. I mean, I'm more of like I really like... Not saying I can't like shonen shows, like I like Bleach.
No, you would much prefer to watch the creator's wife series.
I like shoujo. Like I'm more of a...
Yeah, no, that's what I saw when you said the Kane saga. I was like, I was thinking of a different saga. The saga I'm thinking of includes a man with a jaguar head.
No, not that.
That's a very different saga.
Yeah.
That's the Green saga. Green saga. Let me see if that's correct. It is. He's got like 2 teenage blonde kids that hang around with him, and he's just got like a big sword, a jaguar head, and sometimes he wears like these fancy clothes, or he's just wearing basically nothing at all.
I had to, since you mentioned that, the Kane Saga. So the Kane Saga was the first like 5 books. It was like the prequel. The second series that's like the continuation is called Godchild. And I loved that series. I did not like how it ended, but I loved it. And it's really, really good, especially if you like that kind of shoujo type manga.
I think I've only watched one shoujo anime, and that was Planet of the Beast King.
Oh, we should probably also mention the difference between shonen and shoujo, because
there's shonen, which is the target demographic is younger boys. Shoujo is younger girls, which that doesn't really matter. Anybody can enjoy any of these things. I just said I watched Planet of the Beast King, and I thoroughly enjoyed it as like a 13-year-old boy.
Yeah,
That
just happens to be their like target demographic. So if we thought like
yes, so then there's also seinen, which is adult men, and josei, which is adult women.
Mm-hmm. And I think also there's a different, like when you're talking about manga, there's shoujo manga and shonen manga, and the art style is different too, because again, it's kind of that demographic. Who are they trying to appeal to? Yeah, I mean, I think it's a good show if you do like those things. But again, it just kind of wasn't really my cup of tea. It's kind of, again, like I kind of like I said before, like Inuyasha and Bleach. And I'm going to try to eventually watch Naruto. I haven't watched Naruto.
I mean, I got Dan to watch Naruto.
I know.
So that's the biggest accomplishment.
I know. My whole reason for not watching Naruto was because, like we mentioned,
it the same reason he wouldn't watch it, which was believe it?
No. The reason I did not watch Naruto was because when I started watching like anime and reading manga, I was in my angsty early teen phase, like preteen phase. And so I remember Inuyasha and Death Note and like all these other shows coming on Adult Swim. Naruto and Dragon Ball came on Cartoon Network before it like got like PG-13. And because of that fact, I was like, Naruto's for kids. I'm not going to watch that.
That's edgy. Also the same reason you wouldn't watch Batman, the Brave and the Bold, which is amazing. And also, I always forget that Death Note is a shonen anime and not a seinen anime.
Yeah.
But then again, Inuyasha is also a shonen anime, so.
I love Inuyasha. It's like my favorite. Like I said, it was like the first one I ever watched, and I fell in love with it. But yeah, if you like this kind of adventure-esque, even though, it's coming of age, friendship, revenge, adventure, creativity, and the overarching, I guess, story, like kid gets a group of friends, goes to become a hunter to, go on crazy adventures and hunt things.
Body horror, ant monsters.
So if that's something that you like, then definitely you would like this. Do it like if you're interested or you're not sure. Do kind of what
you're bored one day, just turn it on.
Yeah, like watch the first 3 episodes like I did, and then kind of make your decision from there.
You don't need to watch the same 5 YouTube videos again for the 15th time. You don't have to do that. You don't have to do what I do.
I do that.
Just try something new.
I do that as well, and I have some YouTube videos memorized.
Guys,
because of that.
Everybody just try something new, folks. Just try something new.
Anything else you want to say to the listeners on this topic before we?
No, I think I've said the phrase. I think I've said the phrase murder pervert clown magician too many times.
That's your selling point for this show.
No, I mean that's not a good selling point. That sounds like a bad thing.
Well, I guess it depends on who you are.
I mean, maybe. I'm not going to yuck anybody's yum or anything, but, like, come on. I mean, there's someone... I think I've seen clips on YouTube, on Instagram, just scrolling through, someone saying that they could change Hisoka. Fix him. I
don't think I want to read those comments or see that at all.
Hey, I mean... Someone's got to do it.
And with that, I think we're going to bring this episode to a lovely non-murder clown ending.
Maybe. Oh, wait, no. Hold on. Murder pervert clown magicians, the exact selling point that'll get Dan to watch this.
That is true.
That is exactly the way I can get him to watch it.
That is true.
Oh, no. All right. Bye, everybody.
Bye, guys. We'll see you in the next episode.
Hope you enjoyed our discussion on Hunter x Hunter. None of this would have made it to your ears without me, the all-powerful sound guy, Mike. Make sure to follow us on Twitter and Instagram at GateCrashersPod. Slide into our DMs with that sweet, sweet feedback, baby. No, but seriously, we really want to make the show as great as we possibly can. So let us know what you think. And if you're really feeling it, leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. It'll really help us, how do you say it?